It's time for nerdy news. What is up, nerds? What's up? Why is anyone else hear that? It's not even playing. Why is it doing that? That was super weird, right? Oh, maybe it's because I had another window open. I didn't realize it. It was all me. It's all my fault. So welcome back to Comics and Cosmetics. This is Nerdy News. I'm your host, Danny Sansi, licensed cosmetologist and registered super nerd. And if you are as awesome as I think you are, oh, it's on loop. Damn you, you got me again, StreamYard. The loop button. If you are as awesome as I think you are, you will smash that like button. If you're new, I sure hope you subscribe. Subscribe is a hard word to say. You try saying it a bunch of times. And make sure the notification bell is ringing so you get notified whenever I'm back with even more nerdy content. And today we got a lot of things to talk about, mostly Marvel. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on with Marvel. So I had to ask like favorite person of the world to talk this Marvel stuff with. But don't worry, I'm going to remind him that it's late and he's got work in the morning. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Emmet Kennedy. Hello.
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 My AirPods jumped to another Apple device, and I missed your fantastic story for me. So
That's okay because I had a couple devices that I apparently was not paying attention to that messed me up. So
my typical messing up the intro, but hello everybody, and hello Danny.
no, you're here on time. That's all that matters, bro.
I was here 20 minutes on time, which
I
means I
know.
must have bumped my head.
So, Emmett, tell everyone at home a little bit about yourself if they are unfamiliar with you.
Oh, a little bit about myself. Hi, I'm Emmet. I'm a Marvel fan. I'm a broadcaster. I get paid to talk into a microphone. Sometimes I do that well. Sometimes I make a balls of it, like the intro to this. But yeah, I big fan of Marvel. Work on British radio, which talk sports. We're live from York Racecourse on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you like your horse racing, and if you do like your horse racing, follow the Final Furlong podcast now on YouTube. We're new to YouTube, which means I need to learn all of this fancy graphic stuff that you're doing because I've got StreamYard as well, but I don't know how to do any of this stuff. So we need to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, sure. Like, how much can you afford to pay me?
I can pay you in Lego. How about that?
Hey, look, why don't you just
100
sell
Lego
your
sets here.
just sell your helicopter that the British government gave you and you'll have some I mean, you won't be able to travel anywhere.
Well, it is the only way that Irish people can travel from one place to another because the British
It's
blew up
never
all the
gonna
roads.
it's never gonna not be funny to me, and I'm always gonna find a way to work it in. Like, I feel like I should make a merch design with something about the helicopters in
Yeah,
Ireland.
I feel like there's a lot of new viewers who have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
Oh, so Emmett,
It's very very briefly inside joke. I was on a night out with a friend of mine who was going out with an American girl, and the American girl said, "Oh, so like, how do you like? What's Ireland like? Is it as bad as your friend says?" Yeah, I don't want to say his name because she might still be out there somewhere. Um, and, I went, what? He's like, well, like the roads, like how you get around. And he's just kind of nodding away in the background, like, go on with it. I was like, oh yeah, yeah. Well, like we all have to fly around in helicopters. Really? Why? Well, the Brits blew up all the roads, so we have to all have a helicopter. And she believed it.
yeah.
Like, didn't Google it, didn't go,
Didn't use common sense.
okay, all right, like you're clearly after having a few shots and you think you're funny. No, fully hook, line, and sinker. Oh my God, so the Irish people just fly everywhere in helicopters? Like, yeah.
Only when they're drunk.
Why are you with
Only.
my friend? What the hell is going? Yeah, it was an interesting.
He's not with her for the conversation, clearly.
No.
No.
No, it didn't.
Oh, all right, now that the inside joke is now outside for everyone, let's say hi to who we have in the chat. Right now, it's Dreaming Tabitha. I have to say my last name again. Sanssouci. Do you have, that's like, way to make me relive the trauma of no one ever being able to pronounce or read my name. Oh, she says you're cute. Oh, oh.
Hello.
And we have Spencer. Spencer's super cool.
She's a keeper, by
Love
the way.
him.
Tabitha's a keeper.
Yeah, Spencer's cool.
Hi,
And yeah, that's all we have in the chat right now, but it's early. It's still early, but we really got to start talking about this stuff because there's some crazy, crazy stuff going on. Some crazy. First of all, I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room first. So Kevin Feige, Papa Feige, has had the legal team send a subpoena.
Oh, we're going right in.
We're going right in. We got to talk
We're
about this
jumping right in.
because there's so much stuff coming out since this happened. It kind of feels like a troll or like they're fishing, you know? So right away, Kevin Feige has the legal team send out a subpoena for Instagram to find out who Can We Get Some Toast is, because if you don't follow Can We Get Some Toast, My Time to Shine Hello, and Daniel Reitman, they have a lot of scoops, like a lot, daily, big ones, not little ones, big ones. And Can We Get Some Toast has really effed around and found out because they put out some stuff they weren't supposed to at all, some copyrighted images from Captain America Brave New World, and they
It
did
was
this
video, wasn't it?
yeah, and yeah, basically they put all this stuff out. And just so that we're clear, I do pay the $2 a month to see what they're putting out on Instagram because I want to see what they're putting out on Instagram.
But you'd have to, though.
Yeah, you have to. You have to pay to get the exclusives. They hold on to their scoops for 24 hours and they show the exclusives first to the people who pay for it.
Do you mind if I just add a bit of context, though?
Oh, yes, please.
Because we're not talking about Jeff Snyder saying, "Hey, Chris Evans is back in Marvel."
No.
These scoopers go way beyond that. They're saying Chris Evans is back in Marvel and he's going to be Hydra Cap in Deadpool 3 and he's going to be killed in the third act by Ryan Reynolds. I don't know if I've made all that shit up, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
But they will tell you exactly what's going to happen in the film,
Yeah.
which is whack.
Yeah. That's not fair.
Jeff Snyder will tell you about a casting. He's not going to tell you the entire plot for Avengers Endgame. These people do.
Right. Like when you remember last year, they leaked the script for Deadpool 3 on Reddit. The entire script. I read it. Just so I will read and view these things so that I'm educated, so that I can talk about this stuff with you guys. That's part of my job. I'm a nerd journalist, for lack of a better, descriptor. So I try to keep myself as up to date on whatever information is out there so I know what to tell you guys, how to tell you guys, how to respond to it. And I always let you guys know, I've read this, I've seen this, but I don't tell you the specifics. I don't go into detail and say, this is everything that's happened. And this was a conversation I was just having with Dave the other day. And in fact, I told Josh over at Den of Nerds this too.
Josh.
Shout
out to the GOAT.
Shout out to the Lucas family who's growing by one. Like they're having a baby. So congrats, Eliza and Josh.
Baby on the way. Yeah.
You're gonna
hope
have
it's a girl.
to
Just because he has a son.
Needs the needs that
I,
in his life.
I think I
You're gonna
think
have to start.
Elisa needs a little bit of female energy. There's a bit too much testosterone in that house. So
Yeah, we need to clear out some Coke cans to make room for that baby too. God bless him. God
Daredevil
bless
and
him.
Iron, all of them Daredevil are Coke
All
cans.
all of them. Like
Every
we just get like
one.
a case at a time. You can't quite see it right now. We just get like a case at a time. I've already got 4 of this set
This episode brought to you
because
by Coca-Cola.
because I read online first. It says they're going to stagger the release. He just goes straight to the grocery store and buys $500 worth of Coke cans and then opens them live.
And so proudly and
I
confidently,
was
like, there's no way they're
uh
all Daredevil. There's no
everyone in the
way.
chat, and I'm trying to tell him like, Josh, they said they're going to stagger him. He pulls out the Hulk gloves and he's just like, ah.
Oh. But if you're looking for a can of Coke, Josh will give you a good deal, about
He
$20
will. He's got
each.
another kid on the way. He needs the room. He needs the money. God
Yeah,
bless him.
yeah. Or that kid's just going to be fed on Coca-Cola for the first year of his life.
Probably no teeth. No teeth.
Overrated.
But I was just telling him what Dave and I were talking about, that they've really stolen a lot of the magic away. When you know too much of what's going on behind the scenes,
Yeah.
it really takes you out of it. Like one of my dear friends, and we've all talked about this. I've talked about this 1,000 times because I'm bothered by it. One of my dear friends is a Lucasfilm actor, has been since Disney took over. And he had the worst experience of his life on The Acolyte. Just horrible. He told me all about it. And he wasn't calling me to say, "Hey, here's some dirt." He was calling me as a friend saying, "This sucks. This really sucks what happened to him." And so hearing all this stuff that happened behind the scenes on set of The Acolyte, even though the trailer looked really good, I'm still like, I know too much.
Hey, chat. Are you hyped for the 2-episode premiere of The Acolyte?
Like
Jesus.
nobody is. I have a nerd list. A nerdalist. I love that. I'm gonna call myself a nerdalist from now on. It
That's
makes
going on your
sense because I
LinkedIn.
call you all nerdlings. So I'm the nerdalist, you're the nerdlings, whatever. Um, so another, and I'm not gonna say their name to bust them out or anything because this was a private conversation, but another pretty big YouTuber messaged me a few days ago and they were like, "Do you feel hyped for The Acolyte? Because I don't, and it makes me sad." Like I want to. I want to feel hyped for this huge thing, but I just don't. And a lot of it has to do with all the scoopers and stuff.
Yeah.
Dreaming
Well, that and the fact
Tabitha.
that Disney Star Wars has been crap.
Yeah, it's not been great. There's been
It's
Rogue
terrible.
One, Andor, and seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. The
That's it.
rest have been mid or um
Obi-Wan Obi-Wan was the one that really did it for me. That's just
Obi-Wan didn't even get listed when they're doing the trailer for The Acolyte, and this is from the studios that brought you The Mandalorian, Andor, and Ahsoka. They didn't mention Book of Boba Fett or Obi-Wan. Like they
yeah.
at all. But Tabitha says she's super curious to see Carrie Ann Moss as a Jedi, but that's it. And she's in one episode. I was
What?
checking. Yeah, I was checking.
Space Trinity's only in one episode.
She dies in the first episode,
Oh, great. That's terrific.
and they apparently show it in the trailer.
They show a badass fight scene, but I didn't see her die.
They show her robe and blood and like her lightsaber, and that's in Indara.
Space Trinity gets wasted, but this is the thing that she can just come back as a Force ghost. Great.
If you check IMDb, which I did today because I was looking for my friend's name, because he's playing a character called Chuwan. And if you have paid attention to all the characters he's played, they're all named after Beastie Boys albums. So he's Chuwan instead of what you want, what you want, and he's Chuwan. So I was looking for his character, so I knew how to spell it. And I saw that Carrie Ann Moss is only listed for one episode, as is oh Tobin Tommen King Tommen. What's his name? Thomas Charles Hayden something. Anyway, he's only in it for one episode as well. He's only credited in one episode.
How
So
stupid is that, by the way? That like a
you
lot of the
have these.
producers are able to game the IMDb system. Like they'll put in an actor for 5 episodes when they've actually been killed off in the first episode. Like
Well, IMDb has her as one episode. So who knows?
I'm
They had a
pretty
lot
certain.
of
I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty certain Matt Damon did not appear on the IMDb cast list for Interstellar until it was released.
really.
Like they'll do that. If I'm
And see,
pretty
they've
sure
gotten in trouble.
if you go look
They've
IMDb, I'm pretty certain that before Dune 2 came out, what's her face that's in everything now? That it plays his sister. She wasn't listed on the IMDb cast list until the film came out. Anna Taylor-Joy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, she's changed it to Anya.
Yeah,
Anya
well, sorry,
Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy
Anya.
with her wide
Yeah.
eyes apart, eyes wide apart. She's a beautiful woman, by the way. What the hell am I saying? Look at my face. Face for radio rating ideal.
My mom used to tell me, because I worked in radio. That was my first job ever, was working in radio. And she's, I know you're watching, Catherine. I just want you to remember that you said this to me. You said, well, I've always said you had the face for radio. I'm like,
Hi, Danny's mom.
I was like 16. Dick move.
What every 16-year-old girl wants to hear.
Oh God.
But the overall
Yeah.
point I'd make there is like the Disney Star Wars producers are so stupid that they can't even make
They
sure
don't
that the
want,
IMDb cast list isn't going to give away a spoiler like Carrie Ann Moss's
and
role in Acolyte.
honestly, they've gotten in trouble in the past, producers in general, for fudging trailers and stuff, for fudging trailers and
Yeah.
lying on IMDb because they claimed it false advertising. But we've gotten way off in the weeds. We need to stay on track. We're talking about Papa Feige subpoenaing
Yeah.
Instagram to give up the details on Can We Get Some Toast, so they can find who this person is and sue them. And there has been some speculation for a long time that Can We Get Toast, My Time to Shine Hello are the same person. And
They are.
not just those two people are the same person, but that they are, in fact, Daniel RPK. So I've been watching all three of those accounts like a freaking PI, waiting for them to say something, because yes, Captain America is coming back. There's got to be something to give it away. Like, they've got to be nervous. All scoopers have got to be nervous right now. Like, I reached out to one of my sources today and asked, like, how do you feel about Feige suing to get people's identities? And they said, can't talk right now. I'll get back to you. And that was it.
Is
Like,
this an anonymous scooper?
I'm not going to say the name.
No, but that you were talking to is the person is an
Yeah,
anonymous scooper.
they go anonymously.
Okay. This
So-
isn't the first time Marvel have done this, though. They did this
No.
last year after the Deadpool 3 and the Quantumania leaks. They shut down Reddit. I think what actually
Yeah, I
happened there was they went to Reddit and threatened to sue them unless they revealed the identities of the people who put the Deadpool 3 script in the Quantumania leaks on
they put that out
that
there too.
Marvel spoilers subreddit. And the moderators of that subreddit got nervous that Reddit were going to cave, because Reddit had told Feige and Marvel to go pound sand. We're not doing that.
First Amendment, baby.
Yeah, but you notice how the First Amendment is coming under massive pressure in America? Like the new CEO of NPR, her big thing about the biggest stumbling block to the freedom of America is the First Amendment, and we got to do
what?
Oh yeah. Oh, the CEO of NPR is a beautiful blonde woman who's like 39 or 40, and she's now the CEO of NPR. Like, it's wild that anybody would be the CEO of NPR at 40 This woman's an intelligence asset. Like, there's no doubt about it. This woman has got massive links to the intelligence community. And her big thing is, well, the real problem, the real stumbling block to American democracy is all this disinformation and misinformation out there. And the only way that we can get rid of misinformation and disinformation is to suppress media. And the only way we can do that is to do away with the big stumbling block that is the First Amendment. Because, the misinformation and the disinformation that has come out of X and Instagram and, I don't know, MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News. What do you... Madness. Absolute madness. The one thing you've got going for you is your freedom of speech. We don't have that in every country. That's not available in Ireland. We don't have it in the UK. We don't have a First Amendment.
No.
You do, and she's there telling everybody,
and it was the whole point. The whole, like, that and taxation and being overly regulated was the whole reason why this country was founded. And now, we're worse off than how we started. But yeah, I think a lot of
Civil War is going to turn out to be a documentary.
Don't get me started on that damn movie again. Now, see what you've done. You've got me right back.
Sorry. Let's stay on track. Kevin Feige doing Meta.
So I do believe, I think that those two accounts are Daniel RPK. I do think that. Okay. And I'm wondering, because look, there's been a lot of stuff coming out just in the last week. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe Feige is fishing. He's leaking certain things and seeing which ones make it to Twitter and Reddit and Instagram and everything to try and, see where the leak's coming from. You know what I mean?
So if you've got 10 people in Marvel and you're nervous that they're leaking stuff, you give them an individual story each.
Yes.
You give them Chris Evans is back. Hugh Jackman is going to be in Secret Wars, blah, blah, blah. And then whichever one of those stories ends up in the media was leaked by such and such person, and you know who it is.
So I think that's what's going on. And it didn't really, pardon me, it didn't really all clue into me until today, when they started to say, can we get some toast shared, that the new title for Agatha is Agatha the Lion Witch with the Amazing Wardrobe. I'm like, now I know you. Come on. That ain't real.
Actually tweet that out. First of all, if they change the name of that show again.
That's so fucking stupid.
Kill that show.
That's 9 times.
Batgirl that show.
Oh. And I've loved WandaVision. I loved Catherine Hahn as Agatha, even though she's totally different from Agatha in the comics. I still loved Catherine Hahn as Agatha, and I'm really looking forward to it. And it was after WandaVision, after WandaVision ended, that's when, and Loki came out. I'd say after that and Loki, stuff really started tanking fast. Like, the quality took a dramatic drop, right after Loki. Just wow.
Shocking. Well, Feige was now head of the studio and had too much to do and delegated it to Victoria Alonso.
Oh, you know how much I love her. Best friend of the channel.
The safe pair of hands who could be trusted, Victoria Alonso. She won't do anything. Well, oh, wait.
X-Men is a sexist name, and it should be changed to X-People. So should we change...
Jennifer Lawrence? Remember Jennifer Lawrence literally had that line. It's the women who are always cleaning up around here. Maybe it should be the X-Women. It's an actual line in an X-Men film.
I know. And what's crazy is she and I have a mutual friend. And they told me she's actually really fun. She's a decent person. She's just a freaking airhead. She's a huge airhead, and she'll say something and not think about it, or she thinks it sounds funny, and so she says it. And then it's like, wait a minute. Do you not realize what you just said?
What, you mean that she's the first female action star? There were no female action stars until
Jennifer Lawrence came along. When I shared that with our mutual friend, they were like, I guarantee you, she did not know what the hell she was saying. She meant something else and said that instead. And then she's like, wait, what? Like, it got, bless her heart. Just bless her
I mean,
pointed little head.
she's a very talented actress. She's very,
Mhm.
very good at what she does.
And
She's
she's
very
gorgeous.
likable, but she's stunning. Body be banging, but yeah, some wild shit. But
Yeah.
so you're convinced that Daniel RPK is really the person who's behind Can We Get Some
Yes.
Toast and My Time to Shine, and that
Yes.
this whole thing is to try and find out who he is. Do you not think
Yes.
Marvel already know who he is?
That's a good question. That's a really good.
I'd be amazed if they don't.
I think they have an idea, but they have to get hard evidence. They have to get hard evidence in order to sue for copyright infringement. So, and they're coming down hard, dude. Like,
What a
they will
dumb
send.
thing to leak, by the way.
Do what?
Like it's a stupid thing to leak. Like if you come out and say, "Hey, Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine," that's okay. That's a great story. That's going
Mhm.
to piss off Marvel that you've got that out there before they've been able to do the press release. But that's still there's no intellectual copyright. There's nothing you can do about it. If you're walking along and you bump into Robert Downey Jr. and he says, "Oh, Danny, just don't tell anybody, but I'm back as Iron Man," and then you go and say, "Hey, Robert Downey Jr., fuck that, he's back as Iron Man," tells everybody, and you share the selfie. Marvel can't do
Mhm.
anything about that. There's no
No.
intellectual copyright.
No.
But
But
if
if you
you put up a
worked.
video of Anthony Mackie like kicking ass,
Mhm.
that's copyright.
Yeah. Yeah, totally different. Two totally different things. Like, yes, I'm sorry. I don't I believe that's Chinese.
I
I
want Cap
cannot.
back too.
Yeah, I can't read that name, so I will apologize because um in America we don't learn a whole lot of other languages.
We learned it in Ireland, but I'm not going to help you out by reading it.
Oh yeah, okay, with the helicopters too.
I didn't need the subtitles for Shogun. I understood it all.
Liar. Whatever. It's an amazing show which oddly is getting a second season,
I'm hyped
which
for that, by the way.
it's awesome. Like
No
I
source
think
material,
that's
but damn, what a show.
yeah. So Cap is coming back. Chris Evans is coming back and they're doing a limited series about Cap after Endgame returning all the Infinity Stones to their appropriate places and then ending up with Peggy. I think that
Yeah.
would be an amazing show. You need something like this. You needed one of the big six to come back and like, all right, I'll set these damn kids straight. I'll help out. I'll do the dishes. I think it's a great move.
It's
I
brilliant.
think it I
And
think it's a great move. And but I'm a little torn at the same time because I think there was a time where I would have been really, really stoked, you know? And if my 15-year-old daughter doesn't stop coming in and asking me for stuff, the answer is just going to be no.
mommy's on a live
Parenting.
stream.
Yeah, and Mother's Day is over apparently. So,
Oh, lovely.
you know how I spent Mother's Day? On my back porch drinking agave margaritas and listening to DMX and Tupac.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
It was wonderful.
That
Are
sounds
you kidding
epic.
me? I wish I could go back in time and tell 16-year-old me, guess what you're going to do when you're 43 on Mother's Day? It's going to be dope. You're going to smoke, you're going to drink, and you're going to listen to
Oh,
Tupac.
getting
It's going to
faded
be,
listening to DMX.
yeah, it was a good time. So apparently
Come on,
Mother's
give
Day
me
is
a
over.
sign.
Well, what was really crazy is when I turned on "Hit 'Em Up" by Tupac, and my 15-year-old daughter started rapping every word, and I was like, "Wait a
Because
minute."
music is crap now.
Yeah, yeah, she had freely admits that too. Um, but there was a time when I would have been really excited for Chris Evans to come back and to get this limited series of him returning all the Infinity Stones, and I want to be stoked about it. I really, really, really do. But I think what I'm feeling now is more concern. Like, are they going to do it the way they should? Are they going to listen to these millions of fans that are like, I'm tired of giving you my money and attention because you just keep letting me down? Are they actually going to give this the attention, quality, and respect that it deserves? Because this is Cap, man. This is Captain America. This is
It's America's
Chris,
ass.
yeah, he is most definitely America's ass. Well, yeah, he is. He is. Dave's a good second, though.
No, but if you okay, if, the reason that you're apprehensive
Mhm.
is because we've had our fingers burnt too many times.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Quantum Mania, there was a reviewer who said Quantum Mania was one of the best science fiction films of all time. Not one of the best Marvel films, one of the best science fiction movies ever. That's somebody who was paid to say that. Because while it's all objective, there is no way in hell you could watch that film and think, oh, yeah, that wasn't just good. That's better than Aliens. Like, that's
Oh,
so
what
wild.
is
This is
wrong
better
with
than
you?
Blade Runner. Like, it's
Hey,
terrible.
and
But
how I
it's not just one film that was bad. It's a whole litany of them, and the TV shows were terrible. Like WandaVision is a really good show to bring up, uh, because it kind of encapsulates the problem.
yeah,
WandaVision was a great show that had a okay finale at best, and
yeah.
those leakers were telling us that Doctor Strange was turning up. And I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
at the height of the pandemic, everyone's locked down. We're all popping pills to get through it. I know we all want to forget what was going on, but it's like we're all just day drinking and taking every oxycontin that the doctor's given us for our back pain.
We're not advocating recreational drug use.
Of course not. Kids, be sensible. Although it's all legal over there, so knock yourselves out. But I was watching that finale, waiting for Benedict Cumberbatch to turn up, and then being disappointed that he didn't. And that show, as a whole, as a show as it is it's a very good show, and it's a fine finale. But can we get some toast or whoever it was telling us that, yeah, by the way, Benedict Cumberbatch has already shot the scenes. He's going to be in the finale. When all that was artwork,
Yeah,
and a potential mock-up about what they might do if he was to turn up into it. That spoiled that finale for me, quite frankly.
yeah.
And the finale itself just doesn't punch in the way that it should. It doesn't leave you going, oh my God, what happens next? You're intrigued, but you're not like, I can't wait for season 2, or I can't wait for Multiverse of Madness. It was okay. And now we're talking about, like, this starts off with you talking about Catherine Hahn. It's a peripheral character. I don't
Mhm.
care about her. I know that you do, and I know that you read those comics
Mhm.
for Agatha. I couldn't give a stuff about her. I don't care about Monica Rambeau. That's why the Marvels bombed. The Marvels bombed because no one likes Captain Marvel.
Well,
Let's be real about it. Nobody likes Brie Larson,
yeah,
and
no one
nobody
likes
likes. I think Brie Larson is a fabulous actress.
the
She's a
problem.
beautiful woman.
Captain
She's a
Marvel,
dose. She's a
the
bloody
Marvels,
dose, and it's a terrible movie.
the Marvels was a mess.
A
You could.
complete disaster.
It was such a mess. Like, they cut so much out and left so many holes. Like, the whole musical scene just felt
Oh,
awkward to
Jesus
me. It didn't
Christ.
feel like it fit at all. It was just a reason to get a K-pop guy in there singing. It was strange to me. I will tell you, the one thing that I enjoyed watching in that film was Iman Vellani. That
Yeah, she's
girl
great.
is infectious. She is Kamala Khan. That would be like me getting to play Wonder Woman on
Yeah,
screen. Like,
but
me
Danny,
happening just so happen to look like Wonder Woman and get to play Wonder Woman. Like, that's just, she's so good at it, and her passion and excitement for the character, just, it
yeah, she's
really,
great. Danny,
yeah.
no one cares about Miss Marvel. Nobody cares about Miss. I'm sorry. She's a lovely person. She's a very talented actress, and she
Mhm.
is Miss Marvel. She's perfectly cut. No one cares, and no one cares about the Young Avengers. Right? That are you hyped for the Young Avengers after that Haley Steinfeld post-credit scene? No, don't care. I want Captain America. I want Iron Man. I want Black Widow, the real Black Widow. Yelena's fine, but I want Scarlett Johansson
I
back.
love
I want
Yelena.
the actual Hulk. I don't want Professor Hulk. I don't want dweeby.
I don't want Mark
I don't
Ruffalo. Can we
know.
just recast the Hulk? I don't think anyone would be that upset.
Yeah, he can go too. I don't really care about Mark Ruffalo anymore either.
Yeah,
But we
he's
want Savage Hulk. We want
Brrr.
him back. We want real Thor, not fat Thor. We want actual Chris
Even
Hemsworth
in
kicking
Chris
it, and we want
Hemsworth,
Hawkeye. Like,
and
that's what
Chris
we want.
Hemsworth has come out to say, almost
Yeah,
apologize for Thor: Love and
rightly
Thunder. He's
so.
like, I
That was
got,
terrible.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to do that again. Like, I got caught up in just being silly and, not really taking it that seriously. And I don't want to do that again. For the next Thor film, I don't want any creative geniuses, you know, stretching the envelope. He basically calls out Taika Waititi, like,
No,
no, we're not doing that again. What's up, Truth? Kevin Feige would never do this, but after Secret Wars, they should just reboot.
they will. That's exactly what they're going to do.
That's what it's for. And if you'll remember, if anyone who is a comic book fan, if you've read a lot of comics in your life, you know that a classic tool for Marvel and DC is to when things get too convoluted, they get too spread out and they've got all these different storylines, it's getting too confusing. They have a multiverse arc, and that is used to trim the fat and streamline the storytelling. You always do that. It's like cleaning house. You have to do it every so many years or it just gets too messy. DC is perfect at it. They do a wonderful job with their crisis arcs, and they do it every couple of years, just like, spring cleaning and such. Good for them. They're really good at it. You need to take a cue from that. You're doing this multiversal story, but you can't just do a multiversal story, just do a multiversal story. They serve a purpose. And Feige has flat out said, we're doing a reboot. We're clearing some stuff away. We're getting rid of some things and, keeping some, changing others.
I think
Apologize for that.
that's why the Fox X-Men are back.
Yeah,
Because
it is.
they were bringing in their new X-Men, right? This was happening. Everything was moving forward. Captain Marvel was the new big star. It was all going to hinge on. Well, the sad thing is, it was all going to hinge on Tobey Maguire, Brie Larson, but also Chadwick Boseman. And then, God rest him, they lost Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on with Tom Holland and Sony and Marvel and
Toby
what
is
the
coming
actual
back, I'm
relationship there.
hearing. Toby is
Toby
like,
back, Garfield's coming back. Garfield, what am I talking about? Ugh, Tom Holland is coming back too, apparently.
yeah,
But
yeah.
Sony are being kind of dicks about it, and maybe
Yeah, they are, because they want that
maybe
Marvel money.
Madame Web bombing the way that it did is just enough to make
You know,
make Sony
I
go, you know what? We're pretty good at this across the Spider-Verse animated shit, but
we should stick to that.
we cannot do live action, and we need
There
Feige for that.
there were boom mics in the shots, which means that was the best take they had. Think about that, okay? And then the chick editing it is like, you know what? This is the least of this movie's problems. It's just gonna stay because no one's gonna be able.
Did we
No
not
one's.
get another take of Dakota? No, they're all just phoned in like that. Okay, well, the one good take had a boom mic in it. Can we digitally edit it out? Yeah, but we're not going to.
Yeah, no, because it's the least of your worries at this point. Like
But
the awkward baby shower. Well, my mom died. Nobody can ask you that.
my mom died while researching spiders in the Amazon. What a natural line to just
Yeah,
throw
just
into a film.
close
And then there was an interviewer who said it to Dakota, and she couldn't understand what the problem was. She was like, "That's a perfectly natural line to say." No, it's not.
and then
But the overall point I'd make is, and you brought up DC as well. Can
Mhm.
you imagine if James Gunn, your close personal friend, and
My
Josh's close personal friend,
best friend of the
if
channel, James Gunn.
Josh Lucas's best friend, James Gunn, his favorite streamer, if James Gunn was
Never
to come
forget.
out and say, "Yo, I'm doing my version of it, but we're keeping everything that has gone before, and we're not using Batman, we're not using Superman, we're not using Wonder Woman, but it's going to be Shazam and Black Adam and Blue Beetle and a whole heap of other peripheral characters that no one cares about." It'd be DOA.
Yeah,
And that's what Marvel is right now.
yeah.
Marvel is, hey, yo, the original six that you came to love, these big hero characters, Iron Man, Thor, Thor's still around, Iron Man's dead, Captain America's effectively dead. He's on the moon,
Mhm.
apparently. Black Widow is dead. Who knows what's going on with the Hulk? But we've got all these other characters. And if you're talking about Doctor Strange and the actual Black Panther, you've got some great characters there, but you don't
Mhm.
have Black Panther now. And Doctor Strange is the only one that's an actual interesting character. I mean, Eternals, dead. But and no one cares. Nobody cares
I've
about
heard
any of those characters or where they're
3
showing up.
people total, 3 people total have said, "Oh, man, I really wanted that
No
Eternals
one
movie."
cares. So I think what's happened is Feige realizes that, oh fuck, well, we thought we could just do Guardians of the Galaxy with all of these Marvel characters and they'd be billion-dollar
Mhm.
movies. And then they realized, oh, that's not going to
No.
work.
And the reason why Guardians of the Galaxy worked is because you had the big 6 already in universe. You
And they were
can't
still
have
exactly, they were going to connect up with them.
Mhm.
How
You
are they going
can't
to
have
great point.
peripheral characters, peripheral obscure characters, because Guardians of the Galaxy absolutely were. They were somewhat obscure characters. You cannot have the peripheral obscure characters carry an entire franchise because there is a reason why they weren't the number 1 seller in the comics. And Tiny says hello.
Hello, Tiny.
He's having a whole conversation about it too. The Avengers weren't even Marvel's big ticket seller either. X-Men were. X-Men has always been the flagship of Marvel Comics. So bringing the X-Men in is really the only hope they have for this to be salvaged at all.
Danny,
And
the best way to sum up the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the early days is to say, Kevin Feige built this in a cave with a bunch of
with
scraps.
scraps. Oh god, I love it. But have you heard who they're thinking of using for Storm? Have you heard?
Janelle Monáe,
Yes. I think that's a
big
good
two
call.
thumbs up.
Absolutely. Now I did have one whole person in my 2000 whatever followers on Twitter, humble brag, 2000. But one person, because I was like, I'm okay with this. Janelle Monáe is one of the most beautiful women on the planet, in my
Stunning.
opinion. And I can just see her in all the storm glory. And someone commented and said, she's not dark enough. Are you
What?
are you shitting me? Are really? Really? Is that what we're doing now?
That's a wild thing to say.
That is a wild thing to say. Maybe it's because I'm so white I'm translucent, thanks to our shared ancestry, but she looks dark to me.
Halle Berry.
That was not a problem for you? Isn't she mixed?
Who
Like,
cares?
yeah,
Who
it
cares?
just
Sorry, why is this a thing? By the way,
I
like
don't know.
this came out of you. You can't. Oh, you can't play. Like Rachel Brosnahan was getting criticized for playing a Jewish character because she's not Jewish in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Who fucking cares? Are you a good
She
enough
did the
actor
Jewish
for the
people
role?
justice. I believe she did a wonderful job. I would have never
Are
known
she
she
was
wasn't Jewish.
brilliant. She's phenomenal in that role.
She's
Are you a
wonderful.
good enough actor for the role? Like if Denzel Washington played Magneto, would you be like, "Oh my god, this is so whoa"? That's one of the most phenomenal actors of all
He's
time.
wonderful, but I would take a little bit of an issue because Magneto's whole cornerstone is being Jewish and going through the Holocaust and being
Yeah,
in a
there are black
concentration
Jews.
camp. Huh?
There are black Jews. David Diggs.
I get that. But how many black Jews were in Auschwitz? None.
I don't
None.
know. I wouldn't confidently say that.
Well, I'm saying it confidently. I don't care. They can try and cancel me. There ain't shit to cancel.
But there was a significant um, black population in Europe. Like Rome invaded Carthage
Oh, that's true.
and took
Yes.
people. So like there were like that all got rewritten. You know, one of the things that dawned on me the other day when I was out for a walk
You were walking
All those World War II movies where it's America
in
and the Brits and
Ireland?
they beat the Nazis and it's like, oh, the good guys. Obviously, the good guys managed to win. No mention of the Soviet Union. There's never a mention of the Soviets. They never featured in any of those 1950s, 1960s, 1970s World War II movies, aside from like a couple here and there, which you'd struggle to name them. It's always the good guys are the British and the Americans, and they save the day. And there's no the Soviet Union was just erased from it. And if you watch those films, the vast majority of them are white men going to war, but there's no mention of the indigenous people and people of
Oh,
color who
yeah.
also fought bravely.
My
And
Uncle Sib.
now that's
My
being
Uncle Sib was one
even
of them.
Band of Brothers didn't mention the
Yeah.
blacks who fought very bravely, Native Americans who fought bravely in Europe to for our
My
freedoms.
my
It's
Uncle
only now
Sib
that that stuff is coming out.
my Uncle Sib was 100% Osage man, and he fought overseas in World War II. Looked damn handsome in his uniform as well. Um,
My
total
granduncle, my
yeah.
granduncle would have fought for. Is Irish, born in Ireland, born in my town, and fought for the British in World War One and died in France. Was killed in France. But there's no mention. You watch all of those films. Hardly any of them would acknowledge that Irish people fought for the British in World War One. Hardly ever gets mentioned. So history was rewritten to a certain extent, and you were presented with a narrative of, oh, here's what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of stuff was edited out. So this is suffice to say, there may very well have been
A lot. Tiny has something to say about it as
Tiny
well.
has a very strong opinion on this. But look,
He does.
the overall point is this woke ideology, which I absolutely hate using that phrase because I think criticizing anything that is for representation is supposed to be just as woke. Like representation matters, it's great, but
Mhm.
if you are the only question that should be asked about are you suitable to play a role in a film is are you good enough for it?
Yes.
Are you the right gender?
Yes.
And are you good enough? And everything else, unless you're playing an actual historical figure,
Mm-hmm.
in which case you should look like that person, talk like
Mm-hmm.
that person, and be the same, I don't know, ethnicity as that person. Like if Al Capone was played by some insert completely opposite to his type, that's not going to make any sense. Right? There's
Yeah.
no logic to that. So
Yeah.
no, she is.
And
Janelle Monáe is
the
a phenomenally
I
talented individual who would be
exactly.
great as
I
Storm.
think she's a wonderful actress. I can just hear her as Rogue in my Storm. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. I can just hear her as Storm in my head. Like
But
I can picture it that well. Like I
yeah,
really think she would kill it.
it's great
And
casting. But Danny, to a certain
Mhm.
extent, that I don't know who it was said that to you, but isn't this kind of the problem with the scoopers?
Yeah.
And specifically, not Jeff Snyder, who everybody hates when he says Brie Larson's fighting with Fiona Paris on set and the Marvels is a disaster. That's hate speech, apparently. But then a week later, when he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Hugh Jackman's back," it's like, "Oh my God, Jeff Snyder's got this exclusive. He's
He's
great."
wonderful. We love Jeff.
Yeah,
Just doesn't
so
say anything
like the
about Brie
one guy
Larson.
who's actually out there doing a good job in terms of scooping and giving us the real facts gets hated on the whole time. But these
Mhm.
scoopers, like Daniel specifically, seems to really have an agenda, and I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know what his problem. I don't know if Kevin Feige pissed in his cornflakes or something, or like slept with his girlfriend. But that guy has it out for Marvel,
He does.
and he is leaking stuff that would really turn the fans against what Marvel are doing, including suggesting things like woke ideology is being inserted into Fantastic Four in order to. Pedro Pascal got that job because Kevin Feige said, cast is too white. That's
Are
a
you kidding?
Daniel RPK.
Have you seen Pedro Pascal? I'm pretty sure he's more pale than I am.
He's also a phenomenal actor. Who
He's
cares?
wonderful. He's a
Who cares what
wonderful actor.
ethnicity he is?
I'm looking forward to seeing him as Reed Richards. He got the job because he's nailed everything he's done for Disney at this point. He
Yeah.
was I saw him well, I noticed him. I apparently saw him for the first time in Buffy the Vampire Slayer in the late 90s and I
Wait,
just
what?
didn't. Yeah, he was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And he was in the unaired Wonder Woman pilot with Adrian Palicki as Wonder Woman. I've seen it. He was in that. So, and he looks similar to how they had him play Maxwell Lord in '84. So I'm like, that had to be a little, you know, joke. But when I first noticed him as Prince Oberyn in Game of Thrones, I was like, this dude, we're going to see a lot more of him. We're going to see a lot more of him. And now he's in everything because he's good. He can play anything. Like he's funny. He's very funny. If you've seen the Nick Cage, the movie he did with Nick Cage, the
The unbearable weight
unbearable
of
weight
massive
of
talent.
massive talent, he's so funny. And friends of mine who have worked with Pedro have told me that that's basically him. That character that he played, he's just basically playing himself. He's just a goofy bastard who gets really starstruck all the time. Um, I think it's rather adorable, honestly. But
He's class, but
I think he's going to do a good job
but
with Reed Richards.
even him being announced as Reed Richards, that was
Mhm.
something that was coming from the leakers. Now,
Yeah,
I think Marvel are genuinely pissed off about the casting announcements. I think
I
they're.
think so too.
I'm pretty certain. I would be very confident, in fact, that they have
Because
put out information that then turned out to either be not correct, that was coming from sources that should have known beforehand, and therefore,
mhm,
oh yeah, you can be absolutely certain this is going to happen, to root out who people were. I
yeah,
would be very confident about that,
uh-huh,
and you know why. But
yes,
but some of those people are going to turn out to actually be in Marvel. And I
yeah,
think what's happened is some of
mhm,
those. So the original plan with the X-Men was, oh, we're going to do our own X-Men, and like they might say goodbye to Patrick Stewart and Sri McKellen, like cameos here and there, but they're doing their own X-Men
mhm,
from 2025, and then they saw Phase 4 just derail and go massively wrong, and they went, okay, we need to course correct. We're going to have to bring everybody back
yeah.
and reboot. And instead of introducing a whole load of new X-Men and then having to kill them off, why don't we just bring back the Fox X-Men and we'll say it's their goodbye? And
And,
that's what they're going to do.
you saying something has kind of clued me in or something clicked. Why I get it, phase 4 and on has just been a disaster. Really. It's not been cohesive, it's not been consistent, it's not had the quality that we're used to. And we are just really, really, really coming down hard on Marvel and Disney. But I don't think we've taken into consideration that maybe they tried something and it didn't work. They made a mistake. Maybe there's a possibility that this isn't some huge conspiracy or whatever. Maybe they just fucked up. Maybe it's hubris. Maybe that's the only sin they're guilty of is hubris, that they thought we're doing so well, we've gotten so big, we can do whatever we want and it's not going to matter. They're still going to watch it. We don't really have competition, you know? And then come to find out, no, you can't. You can't do anything you want. We still recognize quality versus quantity. Maybe it's as simple as that. They just screwed up. They're guilty of hubris. And maybe they're actually taking the steps behind the scenes to correct that. And part of the problem has been they know when certain things get leaked, it steals from the actual movie. It steals magic away, it steals immersion, and maybe they like surprising us. Maybe they like a kid on Christmas morning, like when your parents are watching you open these presents, they get just as much enjoyment out of you getting excited to get that gift, by giving it to you and watching the surprise and joy in your face, like, oh my God, I did not see this coming. I mean, have we been too hard on them in that regard?
No, no, we haven't.
No.
The thing that made the Marvel Cinematic Universe truly great
Mhm.
is powerful characters, great story, and it was all intricately interconnected. So the films from before led to the film that you're watching now, which is going to
Mhm.
lead to a bigger story that's going to have an epic conclusion with Infinity War and Endgame. We didn't know how that was going to play out, but
Right.
that's what it was all linking towards. And
Mhm.
sure, they went back and altered things afterwards, or they would change certain things here and there, but always just minute, subtle things that made the story move better and made the story move forward. It was a cohesive story that was intricately interconnected, a web that all led towards one single goal: Infinity War Endgame. That's not what Marvel is now. Secret
No.
Invasion is so wildly inconsistent
Oh,
that you
Secret
go,
Invasion was horrible.
you rewrite who Nick Fury is. He's not a
Mhm.
badass super spy. He was never a badass super spy. The Skrulls made him. That's literally a line of dialogue in the show. You wouldn't have been shit Nick Fury if it wasn't for us Skrulls.
Yeah.
You kill off two major characters, and Talos is
The
a major character, right? He
disrespect.
was a
The
major character. You could have. It's
disrespect.
Ben Mendelsohn, by the way. You can have
No
so much
kidding.
fun with him. And Maria Hill has been around since the Avengers. You kill both of them off
Hashtag justice for Maria Hill. I'm not going to
for
stop. I'm never
nothing.
going to stop. I'm never going to
It's
stop.
mentioned once more in it. He sees her coffin coming off the plane. Her mother bollocks him out of it. That's it. It's not like he fights Gravik and kills him in honor of Maria Hill. It's not even that, by the way, he didn't do that because
No.
Amelia Clark's character had to do that. Gaia. And when Gaia does it, when she blasts him through the chest, does she say, "That's from my father"? No.
No.
Talos gets mentioned once in a clearly reshot and also ADR'd scene, which, if you think about the fact that you've done a reshoot scene and then you also have to do additional dialogue recording after the fact, what a mess. And then you go into the Marvels, no mention of Maria Hill's death, no mention of Talos's death,
No.
and no mention of anything that had just happened. And Fury's a
And
completely different character who
yeah, and
moves
Fury's
differently,
just
talks differently.
happy to be here.
Like,
Just
it's just
happy.
wild. That would never have happened in phase 2 and 3.
No.
It just would never have happened.
And let me tell you
They
something.
lost the plot entirely.
Maria Hill
And they need to
could
be
have
called out for
been
that.
Maria Hill could have been Coulson. If they were going to kill her off, they should have done it like Coulson. And it should have been the rallying cry like Coulson was for the Avengers.
Her
Like that,
death motivates S.H.I.E.L.D. even
anything,
to come
anything.
back.
It motivates Fury to buy new shoes. Anything, but nothing, absolutely nothing. You know, Dave is a normie and he could care less about the Marvel nerdy stuff that I'm into. He could absolutely care less. But he actually watched the first 2 episodes of Secret Invasion with me. And when they show that final shot and they're panning out of Maria Hill laying on the ground dead, he looks at me and he goes, "That she can't be dead, right? Like, that's bullshit. She's been in this since what, the beginning?" I'm like, "Yeah." We watched the rest of the series just to see if she was going to come back. Like, they even have Fury meeting with her mother and she's like,
Yeah.
"Look what you've done to my daughter." And that's all we get. We don't even get her funeral.
Nope.
Nothing else about her. What they did to Colby
She
Smulders
believed in
was
you,
dirty.
Fury, and you let her down. So, did she? Because she was bollocking him out of it in the previous episode,
Yeah,
calling him a failure and that he'd lost a step, and she was the one who had to do all the work.
they did Maria Hill
It's
dirty.
it's wildly inconsistent. The whole thing is, and
Mhm.
the thing is, it's gotten so wildly inconsistent and disconnected from one another, where one project doesn't really, it's leading into another one, but it doesn't connect to it in the way that it should, and they have to alter storylines then to make up for the fact, oh, we've changed this.
Yeah.
That's to the point that you clearly don't care about what you're doing.
Mm-mm.
And if you don't care making it, why would we as fans care? And going to the cinema is not a cheap thing to do anymore. Like,
No.
times are tough. The economy is
And
hard. They might be
not
telling you we're
even
not in a recession. We're in a fucking recession. The entire globe is in a recession.
Yeah. And it's
And
not even, going to the movies used to be an event. It was a big deal if you went to the movies. It was a night out. That was a big deal. And it's not anymore. Nobody cares. Nobody goes because they're going to have it on streaming in a month anyway. So what's the point? What is the reason to go to the movies? And with all the scoopers and stuff, we already know what's going to happen anyway.
yeah, that's another thing. And I think this is all coming down to Marvel's bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
And there was probably a false positive, pardon the pun, during the pandemic, that when cinemas were screwed They were closing in America. They were all going to be gone out of business. And the same thing was happening in the UK. They were all coming under massive pressure. And everything reopens briefly. We're all able to go back into the cinema. Tenet bombs, a few others bomb. But then Spider-Man No Way Home comes out. And it's this gigantic hit that just misses out on $2 billion. Like $1.9 billion. The whole place goes completely bananas for it. And there's probably this attitude of, oh my God, Marvel can do no wrong. We can do everything, anything we want. We can pepper them, carpet bomb them with films every single year and TV shows, and they're going to love whatever we serve. And it doesn't really matter what we put out. And they didn't realize that Spider-Man's a massive character who we all care about, and we all like Tom Holland, or at least most of us do.
Yes.
And I didn't know that those two were coming back, by the way. I had heard they were, but I'd also heard them both go, no, that ain't happening. I don't know where these lies come from. But when the portal opens, I was like, oh my God, that's going to be Andrew Garfield. I knew it. And the whole cinema goes nuts. Ireland does not do that. All right. We're very polite. We just say, and if someone makes a noise, you'll hear someone go, shut up, boy. Like, we don't do that at all. Right? At the end of Oppenheimer, which was a sold-out theater in the IMAX, someone starts going like this. Everybody's completely silent. It's one of the best film. It's the best film of last year. It's a true epic. And somebody went, oh my God. At the end of the movie, nobody else did. And everyone's kind of looking and going, who's the fucking Aegis? Whereas in America, everyone's like, oh yeah, woo! That's not what we do. Right? But everybody lost their minds when Andrew Garfield comes on screen, and lost their minds when Tobey Maguire came on screen. Even in Ireland,
we stood up screaming.
Reserved. Yeah, we all went nuts for it. It was like Endgame all over again. And I think that we got this idea that, cinema's back, everyone's out. The only reason the cinema really worked that time is because we couldn't go anywhere. And suddenly we were allowed back out again. Oh, we can actually go play with our friends? Great. And there was the novelty of going back to the cinema. But we had also learned for a year and a half, essentially, that, hey, this streaming thing is actually really handy.
Yeah.
And that my way of watching television before, I always had, like, I had Netflix since it came out. But I was still somebody who would channel hop. I would come home, I'd turn on my Sky TV box, which is like cable television in Ireland, and flick through the channels until the television had something for me to watch. And then I go, oh, great. Yeah, rerun of South Park. That'll do. And now, during the pandemic, you quickly realize, hang on a second, I can just subscribe to these streaming sites and watch whatever the hell I want, whenever I want to. And that's now people's mentality.
Yes.
So if you're going to release a film and you want it to work, it needs to be epic. And that's why Fall Guy has bombed at the box office. Not because it's a bad film, but because it just looks like a movie. I'll watch that in streaming.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not so great that I have to avoid spoilers. I'll just watch it in 6 months when it comes out on streaming. Same for...
Oh, it's not going to be 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it'll be out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Civil War is probably the same thing. I'm sure that film, like, I know that's the most expensive movie, $823.
I have a big problem with Civil War, and I have to say it. I'm sorry.
No,
I have to say this.
No, it doesn't matter.
Show, and I live in Missouri, and I have to say it because he totally screwed that up when he asks her, Missouri, the show me state. Why do they call it that? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something that is born into anyone who's from Missouri. The moment anyone says, why is it called the show me state? We immediately respond, because you got to show me. Okay? That's the response. It's just a knee-jerk reaction. It's muscle memory. I don't care if there's a gun held to your head and they're threatening to kill you. The first thing out of your mouth is, because you got to show me. Like, no, that was incorrect. You shouldn't have done it. You ruined for all Missourians. Okay, now you can speak.
Okay. Pretty cool rant. But Civil War is a film that's going to be available to stream in a few months. Right? And it's not such an epic film that you have to go to the cinema. So the only reason you're going to go to the cinema now is if you're a cinemaphile, you're a big cinema fan, and you like the experience of going to the cinema, or it's a true event movie. It's an epic film. Yeah. And Deadpool and Wolverine looks like it's going to be an epic. So that's like, I don't know if it's going to make $1 billion because it's an R-rated movie. So it's probably going to be more like 800 million, and people might freak out about that. But if it does make $1 billion,
I think we should play bets.
whatever it does, right? It's going to do well and it's going to be a big Marvel movie. But that's what you now have to do. You have to make something that's so good that we as fans care enough to go and spend $60 to go see it with our partner, or
Yes.
30 to go see it ourselves. And you can't just throw out dross and expect us to watch it. It's not going to happen. That's not going to work anymore. The Marvels is a good example of this. The Marvels has been doing very well on streaming. I don't know why, because it's a terrible movie, but people are watching it. It's there on the Nielsen ratings, on the Nielsen charts of second last week, third the week before. Like, it's doing very, very well streaming. But it bombed at the box office because people looked at it and went, it's just
I
another
have
Marvel movie. I don't really care. I'll watch it on Disney Plus when it comes out in a few months.
I so my mom keeps texting me because she doesn't know how to comment in the chat. Um she really needs me to say this. Listen, she keeps texting me. She says, "I can't chat, must be me. I think daughter of Iron Man will be the new Iron Man."
Oh,
But
Jesus Christ.
she typed Ironton. That's where she lives. Love you, mom. Typo,
No.
but she says, "I think the
No.
daughter of Iron Man will be the new Iron Man. So many untapped Guardians." Right before, right before I get, we were talking about the "you got to show me," being from Missouri. Mom says, "Right before I get in the van, you got to show me tacos." So
But that's
that,
like that's another problem. Like, you can't have Iron Man's replacement is his daughter. Oh, so it's just
yeah,
Ant Man's replacement is his daughter, who is a better
Iron
Ant Man
Lad
than he ever
is
was.
Iron Lad is the replacement for Iron Man. That's
Yeah,
canon.
but
Canon.
yeah, but
That's
think
what
of the
he's.
optics. I'll tell you who the replacement for Iron Man is. Iron Man. That's who the replacement for Iron Man is. You get a variant of Tony Stark who's played by
Well,
Tom Cruise or whatever.
ugh, no, you keep Tom Cruise's dirty little Scientology hands off my MCU. I don't care if he
Hey,
has magic powers or not.
he can do whatever he wants as far as I'm concerned, as long as he's not hurting anybody. Tom Cruise is phenomenal, and I would love him as evil Iron Man, the superior Iron Man. Like, that'd be really cool. But Downey Jr. is going to come back,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Downey
gonna come
Jr.
back,
is going to
and
come back. They're all coming back.
he's been saying for a
Newsflash.
while, "I'm just waiting for the call."
Newsflash. Right? Spoke with Can We Get Some Toast? I know who exactly who she is, Daniel. Uh, RTJ's back, right? All those guys are coming back. Natasha's coming back. They're all Scarlett's coming back. They're all coming back, right? In what capacity? For how long? I have no idea. But they are going to be back. And Robert Downey
Mom, I need
Jr.
you to learn how to use the chat. It's
They're going
very
to back up the
distracting.
money truck for Robert Downey Jr. But I think what's happened with the Scoopers is specifically those three of Daniel. Can We Get Some Toast? Who's in serious trouble? And
Yes.
My Time to Shine.
Copyright infringement is a big frickin' deal.
No. I think what's happened is they fucked with Marvel's shit. They
Yeah.
started affecting their box office because, exactly as you
It's
said,
their
Danny,
bottom line.
if you start to realize that, the Marvels isn't really a film I need to see because it's not really significant because I've seen the spoilers, you're not going to that film. That hurts Uncle Bob Iger, who's not going to be very happy with you. So that's one of the reasons why they want to shut this person down.
Yeah.
But I would be shocked if they don't know who that person is. I think this is all a
I think they know
smokescreen.
who it is. I think they have to get hard evidence.
Yeah, I think they know who it is, and they, for whatever reason, that person has an influence or is connected to people of influence that makes them feel shielded, but they don't want to expose themselves. So
No.
they hide behind this cloak of anonymity. Like, if this is Jeff, I'm just going to use Jeff Snyder because he's the best scooper and he's got the best proven track record. And he's actually putting his name to this stuff.
Yes. He
If
puts his
Jeff
name on
Snyder says something and he's wrong, Marvel can
it. He
correct
owns
that.
it.
But they can contact him and say, yo,
Yeah.
take that shit. Like, we haven't done that. Sorry, I'm swearing like
Yeah.
a hairy ass stalker for 12 pints. I don't know why. But they can get him to knock that stuff off. Who the hell is this person? Can we get some toast?
Yeah. Why are you hiding? What are you hiding? So
By the
remember,
way,
my
if
theory
you are
is,
right, I don't know if you're right about the Daniel connection, okay? But let's assume you are, okay? Or we'll give two theories. There is Daniel RPK, who's an independent person and has nothing to do, and he just decides to tweet anonymously. And then there are two other scoopers who also just happen to tweet anonymously and have phenomenal connections and phenomenal record of getting things right. They've got a lot of things wrong, but they've got a good record of getting things right. I would be amazed if Can We Get Some Toast and My Time to Shine, Hello, is not the same person.
Yeah.
And it's not that difficult. It's not that unbelievable that Daniel RPK is also that person.
Right. Right.
But does that not bode the question? Why is somebody acting? Because they're not just tweeting from 3 separate accounts. They are acting as a different person. And they're
Yes.
speaking to people. Like My Time to Shine has DM'd me. Like we've talked.
Yeah.
Well, it was a while ago, but we've talked. But they've also talked to a mutual friend of ours and manipulated him into running stories that he only ran because he was thinking these are coming from 3 separate sources. So when he's given a story, you need to trust but verify. And in order to run a story, you have to have 2 separate sources. Well, if you get 3 separate sources and they've got great records of being able to produce the goods before, you're going to run uncritically with that story. You're going to go, I've got confidence here. Great. This is the story. I know for a fact this is true. But if that's somebody who is pretending to be 3 different people and it's all the one person and that person has an agenda that they want you to, and a narrative they want you to push, that's blatant manipulation. And that's happened to a mutual friend of ours.
Yes. Yes, it has. Sorry, I'm trying to remind my family to get the dogs.
I like the soundtrack.
You do? It's very distracting
ambience
for
to the
me. I have
background.
ADHD. I'll go all over the place and then I won't be able to keep track. But what I was saying earlier about there's all this stuff that's been coming ever since Feige had the subpoena filed. We've gotten a lot of like major things come out. And
This is the Reddit subpoena.
Yeah, I really think he is like putting certain things out there to see which pipe has the leak. Like Affleck, Ben Affleck is joining the MCU. Ben Affleck, like what would he be playing? Giancarlo Esposito joining the MCU. This I totally believe. I totally believe he's a phenomenal actor. He is just unbelievably infectiously passionate about every single role he's in, and he loves Marvel, he loves Star Wars, he loves the fans of those.
My clones!
Oh God, he's wonderful. He's wonderful. I love this man. He reminds me of this principal I had in elementary school, and I just feel like he would give a really good hug. I'm just saying. Anyway, also that Paul Walter Hauser is joining the cast of the Fantastic Four. My theory is that he's Herbie. He's going to do the voice of Herbie, the robot. But we also hear that Liam Neeson is joining the MCU in a top secret role. I mean, tell me that Kevin Feige puts Liam Neeson in any Marvel movie and all of Ireland doesn't go see that movie. Tell me that doesn't happen. It will.
We are pulling up. We don't have a massive impact on the global box office because there's like 5 million people living in Ireland, but we will pull up.
And every Irish American that Ireland just really rolls their eyes at will go as well. So there is that. But also John Malkovich has joined the cast of Fantastic Four. These are really big announcements, and they've all come after Feige filed the subpoena. I think it's a tactic. I think they're trying to root out whoever it is there at Marvel that's leaking this stuff.
Well, it could be a combination of things as well. It could also be that they want to find out what's really jiving with the. So I know that Marvel have this thing where they will meet with actors that they really like and that they want to come on board and work on a project. And they've often signed an actor with no role. And I'd be fairly confident that Giancarlo Esposito actually signed with Marvel a couple of years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
And was going to be Professor X and has now been told, look, we love you, but we're going with Patrick Stewart for that because we want to give him his farewell. That's their bullshit cop out story. But we got this killer character, and he's game because he signed that contract quite a while ago, but also because the character is something that he's intrigued by.
Golden
And
handcuffs.
I would be pretty confident that that's exactly what's happened there. I think some of this stuff gets leaked just to see what's the reaction. How would the audience feel about a female Silver Surfer? Oh, okay, they don't like that, right? Well, maybe we'll not do that, or do a version of one that has like a small role in Fantastic Four, which is Julia Garner.
Frankie Ray Nova.
Yeah,
That's
they're
what
gonna
they
do,
should have done.
but they're
I
gonna.
had to apologize to Josh. I had to apologize to Josh Lucas. Okay? It's embarrassing.
But I think it's a combination of trying to kite fly information about casting and potential stories to see how the audience reacts, and are the audience on board for that. And they're probably learning a couple of things. One, there's apathy, and the worst thing you can do with your audience is create apathy.
Yes.
Two, there is genuine hype about Hugh Jackman coming back. There is genuine hype about Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen coming back. There's genuine hype about Giancarlo Esposito. And people are going to go nuts for John Malkovich because you're a crazy person if you don't like him.
Freaking John Malkovich.
John motherfucking Malkovich is in the MCU. Let's go! Like, this is all really cool.
That he's going to eat. He is going to eat. I don't care. I think he's going to be Puppet Master. That's my speculation. And that's not me scooping or pooping anything, as Ro has said right here.
Yo, whoa!
That's not he's very happy you're here because he loves the way you say film. He talks about it all the time. I'm not kidding. I will get a random text. This is film. Because he loves you and the way you say film so much. but John Malkovich I think he's going to be Puppet Master. But what I'm trying to say is that's not me scooping. That's me speculating. And speculating is my favorite effing thing to do with this stuff. And scoopers ruin it. Absolutely ruin it.
And I will watch a trailer for a Marvel film, but I won't rewatch it. I have no interest in those trailer breakdowns. I have no interest in learning all the various different things about this Marvel film, because those trailers can give away an awful lot of stuff that, there's a lot of spoilers. Captain America, Winter Soldier. Did you have to put in the helicarriers colliding into each other and crashing to the ground and smashing into the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters? Like, did you really have to put in the entire finale of the third act into the movie? No, you didn't have to put that in the trailer, but they did. So I stay away from trailers. Why would I want to know the intricate plot details and leaks about exactly what the big plot twist for Act 3 is in Deadpool and Wolverine? I don't want to know that.
And that's how I was raised. Specifically, I have very vivid memories of when Terminator 2 was coming out, Judgment Day. Anytime a commercial came on and it was the trailer, my father, Richard Sanssouci, would jump up and either turn the TV off, change the channel, or leave the room. He was so dead set that he wanted to go in this with zero expectations, with knowing zero about this movie. He was serious about his movies and he loved Terminator. And there was nothing, absolutely nothing that was going to ruin that experience for him. We went to the drive-in to see it. Like, it was a big freaking deal. But whenever there is something that my father absolutely loves that's coming out, will not watch trailers, teasers. He won't read anything about it. And he will get passionately upset if you even bring it up beyond, ooh, I want to see Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Shut up. Nope. I don't want to hear anymore. That's how I was raised. So you want to go in with zero expectation.
Those spoilers, like, that's avoiding a trailer. You're scrolling through Twitter, you're minding your own business, and the next thing, Chris Evans is going to be killed in Deadpool 3 by Deadpool. He's going to be shot in the head. And by the way, he's Hydra Cap. I don't want to know this.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was in the
I
film.
wouldn't
What are
be
you doing?
surprised.
Why are you saying? It's one thing if you're a dickhead commenter on a Facebook post, if people still use Facebook, saying the finale to Game of Thrones. It's a whole other thing to have an
Oh yeah.
entire Twitter account devoted to spoiling everything, which they're making money from.
Yeah.
They're monetizing it.
Yes.
So
Their Twitter is monetized. Their Instagram is monetized. Daniel RPK has a Patreon as well. And I have that because I'm keeping my eye on things. And I think you're onto something with him having something against Feige. I don't think it's
oh,
just
for
Feige though.
sure.
I think he has something against Disney, period. Because all of his, like I said, I'm a member of his Patreon. Okay. And I watch. There are people that comment and stuff, and it's just stupid. But he will have other scoops outside of Disney's purview umbrella. But he doesn't go into detail on those like he does
Mm.
anything Disney. He has intimate details on everything Disney, and that's what he posts the most about. And none of it is ever anything that objectively, everyone's going to be like, "Oh man, I can't wait for this. I'm super excited." It's always something that's always a little pointedly pessimistic. Like he knows people are going to hate this. So, and it's always specific, always.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird things. Like he was trying to justify the whole Jonathan Majors stuff and make out that was no big thing, and that they were
See,
committed to Kang and all
my
that.
issue with the Jonathan Majors thing is one, he definitely has a history of the things that he's been doing,
Allegedly.
allegedly. Um, but the way he was prosecuted just shows the damage of the American justice system, because the thing he was charged for was, did he commit aggravated assault on this person in this specific instance? And from all the footage and evidence I've seen, she was pulling him and trying to keep him in the car.
I get what you're saying. Okay, we're not
Right.
we won't go down this road because
No.
we don't want to go off into too much time. But I know
Right.
what you really mean,
Mhm.
and chat knows what Danny really means too. What Danny really means is shout out to our boy Trump. He's been done dirty. Trump 2020.
Oh my God. I desperately try to stay away from that. Mm. I am an anarchist, okay? I'm an anarchist. It's all
By the
bullshit.
way, just in case anybody like misinterprets, spoiler alert, they're all corrupt.
Yeah.
I don't
All
know why you have them on pedestals. I don't know why you're team
That's the
blue or team
silliest thing in
red.
the world.
They're all corrupt and they don't
Listen,
care about you.
I have made it no secret that my grandmother worked in intelligence, and she was very serious, and she still is to this day. Like if I'd come running to her with gossip, she's like, "Did you hear that? Like, did you hear them say that? No, so and so told me." And she'd stop me. "Did you see that? Did you
Mhm.
smell it, taste it, touch it for yourself?" Nope. They can fake anything. Don't believe it. You should never take anything at face value that is just fed to you. Absolutely ever, because anything can be lied about and faked. So it absolutely blows my mind that there are people on Facebook. That's why I don't even get on my personal Facebook anymore, because it just disgusts me so much. There are people on Facebook that are willing to punch their grandmama in the face over people that are 5,000 miles away from them, that do not care that you exist beyond getting all your money and power over you. They don't care. You're nothing but peasants. You're just ants to them. It just absolutely does not matter. They want one thing and one thing only: unicorn and baby's blood mimosas so they can live forever. That's all they care about. They want power, they want money, they want immortality. And you just give it to them when you sit and argue about it online, because while you're watching what this hand's doing, you're not paying attention to what that one's doing. That's what it's all about. So anyone who's 100% this side or 100% that side, you have just fed into it. The human brain doesn't even work that way. You're telling me that you can't relate to any Democrats or anything any Democrat says, or you can't relate to anything any Republican says at any point. That's not humanly possible. We're not built like that. We absolutely aren't. So anyone who's 100% this side or 100% that side and they're ready to like swing baseball bats over it, I don't trust that person like
Yeah.
at all. I'm an
But
anarchist. I'm done with this government. It's nonsense. They weren't raised right. All sucks.
most people most people want to think they're a good person, and most people want to oversimplify politics. There's the good guy and there's the bad
No
guy.
such
They
thing.
want to look at the black and white of it. They just want everything to be very, very simple. So if you're a Democrat, you're a kind person, you're a decent person, and you're voting Democrat because you think they're the good guys. If you're a Republican, you're a kind person, you're a decent person, and you're voting Republican because you think they're the good guys. But you are conditioned on both sides to hate one another. And the reason they're doing that is because they want to keep everybody at each other's throats and not actually come together and go. The entire point
And
of
how
American
is that
democracy,
not obvious?
the whole point of American democracy, what the founding fathers were geniuses, by the way. But one of the entire things they were doing, and I'm not like telling an American person what it is, I'm just making the point that
Well, I just
the
think
left, they
I would
knew the left and the right were always going to be the two that were in power. They knew they would always have their differences, but they also knew that in order for government to work and for America to thrive as the beacon of democracy around the world, you would have to bring left and right together. They would have to compromise, come together to agree on certain things, but for 4 years, the
point
left are going
something
to be
out,
in charge. For 4 years, the right are going to be in
and then
charge.
we have
They're
to
going to
move on.
lord it over one another. But when they want to get big shit done, they're going to have to come together. And all
And
that's happened is it's extreme left, extreme right, and the middle fails. And that's where America now is.
what I want to point out before we move on forever from politics, because that's not my bag, baby, um,
RFK for
is
the win. I get $2,000 if he wins, by the way. So make sure you're voting for RFK Jr. Thank you very
I
much.
don't vote anymore because it's all a sham. Um,
Well, make sure you vote for RFK Jr.
um, one thing that a lot of American citizens do not know, which baffles me and it makes me very sad at the same time, is that
He's an RFK Jr. voter. Great stuff.
apparently um this country was not founded on a two-party system. It was not founded on a party system, period. People who want power have made it that way. We are not supposed to have a party system at all because they knew party systems are what destroys you. Choosing sides is what destroys you, period. There's supposed to be one side and one side only. America. That's it.
Do you
It's
want
just
it?
supposed to be what's best for the country, what's best
Do you
for
want
your individual family.
Do you want to do
That
Alex
is the side
Jones
you're on.
style? This will get the YouTube mods going. No, it's Alex Jones.
Oh
Do you want
no,
to do an Alex Jones conspiracy
no,
before we move on,
no, no, I don't.
or an Alex Jones?
No, go
What
make
I should
friends
say
with
is
Dave. Why
what I
have
should
you
say is
not
an
go
Alex
make friends
Jones
with Dave?
type conspiracy theory. It's not actually an Alex Jones.
Stop.
It's just an
No,
Alex Jones type.
no,
Okay,
no.
I'm glad you said yes.
I
I
said
would
no. I
if
said
I
no.
if
I
I
said
was a
no.
cynical person, I would say that American
You're making me
democracy
make
was
my mom's face.
I would say American democracy was stolen from you when RFK was killed,
Eh,
when JFK was killed, and
I'll
for
have to
that
ask
matter,
my
when Bobby was
grandma.
killed.
My
I think that's
grandma
the last time.
believes
I think that's the last time you had a president who actually
you
ran the country.
shut
I don't
up,
think you have
Emmett.
that anymore.
My grandma says that her bosses killed JFK. Like when I told her that documents came out that basically said the CIA killed JFK, she said, "Well, it's about time they know." Like, hope again. Anyway, I don't do
Sorry,
politics on
the
this channel.
president of the
I
United
don't
States,
do politics on this channel.
the
You go
president of
make
the United
friends with my
States,
better half
who
and
was
make a
shot by a
channel with
lone
him.
gunman,
Why are you doing this to me? Why do you hate me, Emmett?
who
Why do you hate me? Is it because I told everyone that you have helicopters over there? I don't know. Is
no,
it
but the
because I'm
president.
an Irish American and all real Irishmen hate the descendants
The
because we
president,
got
no,
out?
we don't at all. We love Americans and specifically your money.
Yeah.
Um, the president gets shot by a lone gunman who gets shot by a maverick lone gunman who gets
Yes.
visited by the head of the MK Ultra project and subsequently goes insane.
Yeah.
That's not suspicious at all.
No, nothing to see here. Moving on. So, why do you do this to me? Damn it. You've just ruined it now.
Conspiracy corner on comics and cosmetics.
Yes, my name barely draws people in as it is because of the cosmetics. And now we're talking politics. We're like, this has nothing to do with either comics or cosmetics. So why am I here? The whole point is Daniel RPKs. Can we get some
Wasn't
toast?
X-Men based on RFK?
And he's ruining everything because he's got some bone to pick with Disney, which honestly I don't really blame him. Disney has done a lot of people really dirty. They call the mouse the golden handcuffs for a very specific reason.
They're horrible.
They're horrible to people. But excuse me, I just choked on my own spit because after I turned 40, I couldn't remember how to handle it. It's real thing. Real thing. They don't talk about. Anyway, Ben Affleck in the MCU. Like, I think the game we have to play now is which of these are actually true and which are not. I'm on the fence about Affleck. I believe Liam Neeson and John Malkovich because they've actually said yes, that Marvel has agreed to that. And I absolutely believe that Chris Evans is coming back as Cap and that we're getting that limited series. Because why? Why do I believe that? Because Marvel's going to have to do it. Marvel has to. They have to do it. They've got to bring us all back. They got to make us like them again and trust them again so they can do other things. Because they're not going to have the money to do other things, even though Disney has all the money. I believe that that's going to happen. And also, speaking of Chris's, have you heard that Chris Pine, who was in Wonder Woman 84, is shocked that they're not continuing the Wonder Woman franchise in James Gunn's DCU. Like, he's shocked. He's surprised. I'm like,
joking,
really,
right?
dude?
That's a joke.
You were in Wonder Woman 84, where Wonder Woman is basically a dude. Like,
not basically. That's exactly what she's doing.
Yes, she is. Like, there's
She
some
sexually
really
assaulted
weird.
a man.
He couldn't consent to that. He wasn't in his head. Chris Pine was wearing him as a meat suit, and Wonder Woman was riding on it. Like, she didn't ask to buy a ticket. She just climbed on and went. And then they see him. She sees him at the end of the movie, and they're like, hi. Like,
Oh,
no
yeah.
big.
He's perfectly fine with the fact that he couldn't live his life normally for 2 weeks or however long.
Yeah,
the film
has no idea what's
lasted
been
for.
going on for 2 weeks. You've
His
just been
girlfriend is
riding
like,
on his
why
dong.
are you
like,
hanging
no
out with
big
that hot
deal."
Israeli woman? Like, none of it makes any sense.
Just
Crazy shit.
And he's like, I'm just shocked. I'm shocked that you don't want to make another movie after that dumpster fire. Like,
is he still trying to? Is he still trying to tell people that Louis Tomlinson didn't really spit on him?
Oh,
I mean, we
Harry Styles
or
spit
whatever
on
his
you,
name
dude.
is from One Direction, Harry Styles. Yeah, we all saw it, dude.
Yeah, not the Irish
Dude
one.
spat on you.
Yeah, we synced it. We synced it.
Yeah.
He spit right on you. Seriously. Also, my daughter has not stopped asking me about Niall Horn. So I'm going to need you to make that happen.
I was talking to his friend actually a few weeks ago.
That child will not leave. She remembers anything I say that involves Niall Horn, even though I purposely say his name wrong all the time just to mess with her. Niles. He's like, stop it.
Neil's a good singer, actually.
Yeah. God, look at that. What's it? Niels? Norman, that's it. Shut up. Like, she really, really gets mad. But yeah, Chris Pine come on, dude. You know that movie was not great. The
It
first
was
Wonder Woman was
garbage.
the first Wonder Woman movie was great.
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins didn't write it. She did not write it. And I I believe Zack Snyder was actually like secretly voice of God directing it. You know what I mean?
I think
Like,
Zack Snyder's stock has taken a massive hit recently, so I wouldn't be
look,
shouting
I
from the
have a
top.
lot of fans that are huge Snyder bros. See that whole polarization, it's not exclusive to politics anymore. It's now in nerddom. There are people that are 100% Zack Snyder and 100% James Gunn. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. I just like a good movie and I calls him as a season. And Rebel Moon was just disjointed Zack Snyder. That was Zack Snyder trying hard. It just it was just he I think of Peter Griffin describing like it insists upon itself. It insists upon itself. That's what I felt watching Rebel Moon, and it sucks because I wanted to like it. I like Zack Snyder movies. You know, I've had some enjoyment in Zack Snyder movies, but I just Rebel Moon didn't sell for me at all. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. Like
Well, there is good news though, Danny.
they're not making anymore.
No, no. You're gonna if you didn't like Rebel Moon Part 1 and you didn't like Rebel Moon Part 2,
Mm-mm.
don't worry, Danny, because there's gonna be Rebel Moon, the Snyder cut, with
I know.
completely different scenes, totally different takes, and a totally different script.
Why? That's what I don't understand. Like Netflix gave you carte blanche.
I'm pretty certain. So I was I was of the opinion before, very naively, that these are really smart people who are running these studios. They're very intelligent, and they do things on an epic
Darn.
scale. And over time, the more I worked in media, the more I climbed the ladder, the more I got to peek behind the
Mhm.
curtain, the more I got to see. It really is like the Wizard of Oz.
It
It's
is.
just a dude pulling levers.
It
The whole
is.
thing's a sham. And never let
It's
education get in
depressing.
the way of intelligence, because there are well educated people who are running Hollywood studios and Netflix, but they are dumb as fuck.
Well,
And I'm
that's something
pretty
I quote
certain,
to my daughter all the time is there's a big difference between intelligence and wisdom.
massively so. Are you capable of critical thinking? Can you think outside the box? Are you able to see how people will perceive this thing?
Yeah,
I'm pretty
Leslie
certain
Headland.
I'm pretty certain what happened was Kathleen Kennedy got that pitch from Zack Snyder and went, "Ain't no way, this is whack," and went, "We ain't
Yeah.
doing this in Star Wars. This is going to
Yeah.
be awful, and we don't want anything
Yeah.
this anywhere near it." But he goes to Netflix, and Netflix is like, "Yo, Snyder cut was dope. It went viral. How about we do a Snyder cut where we give you the budget to make a movie, we get you to do it in your own way, but then we also release the Snyder cut."
That's exactly what happened. You know it. You know that's exactly what happened because not only them, but you have those Snyder Bros that are militant. They're militant about it and they really believe. They truly believe that Hollywood has something against and they just have it out for Zack Snyder. They just have it
Well,
out for him.
to
And I'm
those
like,
to those
I
militant fans, I would just like to say, I for one think Zack Snyder is the greatest director of all time. All of his movies are brilliant, and Rebel Moon should have been nominated for 70 million Academy Awards. Proceed, Danny.
so you said Kathleen Kennedy, so I have to show you something. I got this in the mail today. It's a makeup palette and it's called I am a woman, what's your superpower? That's not even really the big deal of it. The shades are pretty. That's not even the point either. This shade right here, and I'm actually wearing it tonight cuz it is pretty. It's called The Future is Female. So, I've called it my Kathleen Kennedy palette.
The Force is female.
Well, it says the future is female. So, but it does sound a lot like the force is female.
Why
So,
would you do that? Can you imagine if Kevin Feige became the head of Star Wars at Lucasfilm? If he became the head of Star Wars, if he became the head of Lucasfilm, and he wore a T-shirt saying "The Force is male," It's like,
Oh, that
what
would
a wild thing. The
he'd be
Force is
done.
female?
He'd be
What are
done.
you doing?
Wait, hold on. I've got something for that because Kathleen, she's close personal best friend of the channel.
Jesus. Oh, well, I mean, I take it all back. She's repping the brand.
I should sell that. I really should. I should sell that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, yeah, and have Lucasfilm shut that store down too.
Oh, you can't tell. It's just too coincidental. It's too coincidental. I had that, and it was a big stream. I had a lot of views for me on what happened behind the scenes on Acolyte. And the very next day, my whole merch store is gone. But
That's
guess what, bitches?
yeah.
This came in the mail 6 hours later.
Hey, Danny, who gave you that
And
slogan?
I want everyone to know that this design really isn't 100% me. It's actually Emmet. Emmet
Make
came up
Marvel
with
great
it.
again, baby.
It was
Deadpool and
all
Wolverine,
Emmet's
let's
idea.
go.
And we had this huge plan of me, him, and Josh from Den of Nerds just smoking and wearing Make Marvel Great Again hats.
Red. They had to be red just to
Had to be red.
antagonize
I've
people
got them
until
now.
they
You can
until
go to
they
my
could see the
Etsy store.
Marvel and go, oh, okay, and then back away.
Well, my pint is dry, and I have to pee. So that means we got to wrap things up. It's time to go. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I'm old and I like my space. So, Emmett, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Danny.
hanging out with me today and, just dragging me right off the rails into the weeds and talking politics like I so love.
We didn't even get to talk about Alex Kurtzman saying there's loads of Star Trek stories to do, but we just have to figure out which one. Genius, just do Legacy, you
I
moron.
can't even handle Kurtzman anymore. Like he did a great thing with Star Trek Picard season 3 and just handing the reins over to Terry Matalas and letting him absolutely fucking nail it. By the way, Terry Matalas follows me on Instagram now. Linda Carter followed me on Twitter, and then Terry Matalas followed me on Instagram, and I passed out and peed my pants because that was just the greatest moment of my life. Even more so than the birth of my children. So there you go. Now you know what my priorities are.
It's when you got the showrunner of Star Trek Picard following you.
Yeah. And 12 monkeys and stuff. He did a wonderful, amazing, incredible, almost unheard of job with Star Trek Picard season 3. I mean, he showed all the other IPs out there that you can do it. You can bring it back. You can do it. And he made us best friends because that's how we met.
But how wild is it that this time last year, or in and around this time last year, we were eagerly anticipating the newest episode of Star Trek Picard? And I can't speak for you, but for me, like I'm in Ireland, so the newest episode of Picard would drop about 2 a.m. on Paramount Plus. I was watching it at 2 a.m. on a Thursday night, Friday morning, because I was terrified of spoilers. I had to see what was going to happen next. Star Trek Discovery is back. It's like, yeah, oh, great, okay.
We've talked about that. I've tried so hard. I've tried so hard to get into it because I am a diehard Trekker. I always have been.
Me too. I love it.
I got Star Wars from my mom, Kathy, and I got Star Trek from my dad, Rick. I love Star Trek. I always have. But Star Trek Discovery is just water. It's not even terrible. It's just
it's just okay. It's bland. I'll be honest, Danny. I was getting annoyed at Critical Drinker and Nerderotic and Mauler and all those guys who were calling out Marvel in Phase 4 before it all went to shit, saying, "Oh, this has become nonsense." Basically,
well, they're occupationally, professionally outraged. That's their job.
Kind of. And look, there's definitely an element of grifting there going on for sure. But they were also the ones who were saying this Star Trek Discovery is whack. Like, this is terrible. And I didn't want to hear it because we're back in Star Trek
Mhm.
I loved Star Trek as a kid. I had a
Mhm.
terrible childhood. That was escapism, and
Mhm.
it's an adventure with in the Star Trek universe. You're getting to see something in the Star Trek world. I was just happy that it was Star Trek again. I didn't
Yeah.
really care that it wasn't that good. And then Picard
Yeah.
came out, and I went, "Oh
Oh,
shit!"
wait. This
Because
is what
season
good
one of
is.
Picard was terrible.
Season
Like
2 is e
you're wasting getting this legacy character back,
yeah.
and it's just a bait and switch to, oh yeah, don't worry about him. It's all about the
Yeah.
new characters that are going to go in the story. And season two course corrects. Like season two is good, but
Yeah.
season three is mind blowingly
I
good, and
found
it might,
season 2 okay. I was just super excited to have John Delancey back as Q. That's
yeah,
he's one
yeah,
of the greatest. The Picard Q relationship is tantamount to Xavier and Magneto. It's
yes,
just it's magnificent, magnificent. It's wonderful. But the Star Trek Picard season 3 came out um on the anniversary on my late brother's birthday. And
trust him.
my late brother and I, we bonded over things like hockey, X-Men, and absolutely 100% Star Trek. Loved Star Trek. That was what we did, everything together with Star Trek. We got the blueprints to the Enterprise and poured over it for hours just trying to find a bathroom.
Oh
Fun
no,
fact, there's one bathroom on the Starship Enterprise, and it's located in Commander Riker's quarters. Wash that toilet. That man has so many different diseases that are sexually transmitted from so many different species.
he got
You're gonna
around.
get space herpes just from sitting and going pee pee. But
Riker's got a body count.
he he's like James Bond in space. Like seriously. I just like James Bond, I'm pretty sure most of them have died after he's boned them. So it came out right around my late brother's birthday. And I was so excited because I knew they were all coming back. I sat there with my brother's Defiant. I sat there like holding it, and it was like I could feel him there with me. It was so good and it was so true, and it just had the right amount of nostalgia.
Yeah,
It really felt like I was watching Star Trek again with my little brother. Terry Metalis really pulled a rabbit out of a hat on that one. And I really think it's going to go down in film history and media history. He's done something that has been told and known to be absolutely impossible. That it's like the Beatles happening, or
ABBA coming back.
like Orville, the Wright brothers, like the Wright brothers inventing planes or whatever. It's something that only happens once. You have to be there to experience it, because it's once it's gone, once it's over, there's just no getting it back. And it's really felt like, Marvel is really trying to recapture that end game, that Avengers 1 thing all over again. But it's like the Beatles, you have to be there to experience it. But Terry Metalis did this to that concept and delivered us the best sci-fi season that I've seen in I don't know how long. Like I get goosebumps right now just talking about it. He did such a phenomenal job. That man deserves all the awards, and not me sending him weird ass messages on Instagram while he's at an awards show. I'm so sorry, Terry. Thank you for being so cool. But he really does. And I think all of Hollywood should be paying attention to him, because what he did was magnificent. He hired all the right people.
He
He had
got
the right
he
team.
got Christopher Plummer's daughter,
Yeah.
who, as far as I'm concerned, is the best. Christopher Plummer was the best villain of the Trek films,
Oh,
except
he
for
was so
Khan,
quoting
obviously.
Shakespeare. And that's why we have Hamlet and Klingon to this day, because of
Once more
Christopher
onto the breach,
Plummer's.
dear friends.
Oh, he's so wonderful. Oh, he's so wonderful. Oh, I recently watched it. But he
Undiscovered Country is an amazing film. Like Wrath of
it's
Khan is
underrated.
obviously like that's in another stratosphere, but Undiscovered Country gets close, and Plummer was so good, and
And
Terry Metalis
guess who
gets his
directed it?
daughter. who knocks it out of the park.
That was Leonard Nimoy directing it, and he even came up with the story. Nimoy was he was Trek. He
Yeah.
absolutely, look what you've done to me. I have to pee, sir. I have to pee. And now you've got me talking about Star Trek.
If I just say, if Paramount, if they're not looking at the streaming data of what's happening with Discovery, how many people are watching it, and looking at how many of us were watching Picard last year,
I do want to
which
say
it's the only Star Trek show to actually break into the Nielsen top 10. And it went on to win a boatload of awards. Jerry Ryan winning Best Actress at various different prestigious awards. Like, you have her. She wants to play Seven again. She's the captain now. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do Legacy. Let's do it. It's perfect. It's the perfect concept. They set it up so perfectly. And from what I hear from Todd Stashwick himself, that what he and Terry came up with, they have a way for Stashwick to come back. Stashwick wouldn't tell me, but he says it's glorious. I might see.
Technically speaking, we didn't see him die. God bless you. Technically speaking, we didn't see him die.
We didn't see his body. We didn't see it. So there's a way for him to come back. Stashwick and Metalis have worked that out. But when we were talking about Discovery, when we were texting about it,
yeah,
I might have to sneeze again. It's allergy season in Missouri, and I'm out of allergy meds. It's not good, guys. It's not good. We were talking about Discovery and the storyline they picked to do, the progenitors. You talk about that for a second while I recover.
Well, it's just kind of wild that Star Trek Discovery is a prequel show to the original series, which in its final series is doing a storyline based on peripheral characters from the Next Generation.
Yeah. And it's a standalone episode from the Next Generation.
A forgettable one.
Yeah. I mean, it was good, but I might sneeze again.
I had to rewatch it. I'll be honest, I'd completely forgotten that. And I watched every single episode of Star Trek The Next Generation and absolutely loved that show. But it's just, it's an example of the wild decisions they make. Like, you make a prequel show that's set in the actual universe. You then decide that the Star Trek universe, you're not going into the Kelvin timeline. You're actually going into the original Trek. So you're going to mess with the original series. You're now going to say that arguably the greatest legacy character in Star Trek, with the exception of Kirk, and that depends on which side of the bed you get out of, or which of the two you prefer. But Spock is a legendary character who transcends Star Trek. Everybody knew Leonard Nimoy, and everyone knew he was Spock, even if they never watched Star Trek. They all knew who he was.
Sister.
And he embraced that. Like, he completely embraced. I'm sure that actors, the last thing they want is to be typecast, and the last thing they want is to be recognized as that specific character for the rest of their lives. He embraced it and lent into it. The man was a genius and a phenomenal director as well.
Yes.
You're going to take that legacy character, a fan favorite, and say, yeah, by the way, he had a sister that no one ever heard about and was never mentioned before.
Ever, not once. And here's the thing. So I talked to Neville Page. There is an interview in I'm so sorry. It's calming down now. Like, I got all the sneezes out. You can check the interview. It's a long one because we just started talking. He's a cool guy. Neville Page is the concept and creature designer for all the J.J. Abrams, all the Kelvinverse, on Discovery, Strange New Worlds, Picard. He is the designer for Star Trek these days. And what I got from him when I talked to him a couple of years ago was, so if I'm putting it together correctly, Discovery was originally intended to be a Kelvinverse show. They were going to try doing Star Trek Kelvinverse shows. And it's very apparent, if you notice, you connect the dots on how the Klingons were designed in Discovery seasons 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
and in the Kelvinverse movies. They're identical.
Oh,
Those
good point.
those are Neville's designs. And he caught a bunch of crap because his Klingons didn't have hair. And I was like, well, yeah, Worf had the most glorious head of hair. I always wanted his hair. Um, but his armor designs and everything were just absolutely beautiful. He's even got an explanation, and I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. If you want to know where the actual Klingon insignia comes from, watch that interview, because there wasn't an origin to the Klingon insignia until Neville came around. And it's brutal and beautiful at the same time. So watch that interview. But Disco was originally created as envisioned as a Kelvinverse show. And after season 2, they were like, so people don't really like the Kelvinverse. That doesn't
Wait,
really
after
work.
the
Having Kelvin
in season 1 was going to be Kelvin timeline, as in it
Kelvin
was
seasons 1 and
Kelvin.
2. Seasons 1 and 2 were kind of originally that Kelvinverse thing. And then you notice after season 2, they went a totally different direction, and they ended up throwing him 1,000 years into the future. Because they're making this ship before Kirk, or before Kirk is actually the captain of the Enterprise. They're making this ship be able to teleport with the spore drive. And you're telling me in the 200 some odd years Star Trek or the Federation existed after Kirk, no one has used that since? No one's talked about it? No, because they were doing Kelvinverse stuff, but they don't want to admit to it. So,
well, can I add something to that? Because my understanding is Brian, that was originally envisaged as a horror show. That's what Brian Fuller was brought on for, and the whole idea of Star Trek Discovery was it was going to be Discovery is stranded in space. You open up on this stranded starship, and the crew are dying, and that's why. What's killing them? And it's then this mystery to
that would
find
have
out.
been great.
And it was going to be a one and done, one season. And I'm sure that Brian Fuller would have worked out some way of doing a second season. Kurtzman was involved, and something breaks down, and they're like, "Nah, we ain't doing this." But what they took, so there was no spore drive. That was never a thing that Brian Fuller
They should
had.
have never ever brought that on.
And
ever.
the whole idea of the mycelial network, as far as I understand it, is that was supposed to be terraforming. They were terraforming planets with the mycelial
Like the
network.
Genesis device.
Yes, exactly. That they were going to lean into that kind of technology,
and they should have.
But spore drive technology or spore technology is about planets. It's not about space and leaping through it.
No.
And it's based on, you'll have to look this up. You have to Google this one or chat GPT it. But there's a scientist called Stamets who was heavily involved in terraforming through mycelium. That's why Stamets has that name, but they never changed it. They never went, hang on, we're not doing terraforming anymore, but he's still Commander Stamets.
I liked especially the first season of Discovery. I
did too.
I did too. But
I loved season 2.
Yeah. And I love Klingons. Come on. Worf himself said Irish women would make amazing Klingons. And you know what? I'm going with it. I've always wanted to be a Klingon ever since. That's why I've devoted my time to making my own custom Klingon ridges. I have a really great sculpt of one that I'm going to cast soon. But anyway, I love anything with Klingons, and I like Neville's work. I think he has a unique style, which he takes that as an insult because his job is to be able to translate the director's style. So you don't want to have your own thing. And I'm like, but you kind of do, and I dig it, so it's fine. But I like his work, and Kelvinverse doesn't really bother me all that much. What bothers me is that the whole concept of J.J. Abrams saying he wanted to make Star Trek cool. You need to shut up because you clearly don't understand Star Trek. Star Trek was already cool. All right. We thought it was cool. We liked it the way it was. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to keep rolling. Okay. Just stop. But there is a absolute drastic 180 after season 2 because they kind of figured out, okay, we got to keep doing, this other universe stuff. And, it's not making sense for it to be in the same universe. So we're just going to hurl them into the future and never mention Spock again.
He gets mentioned in one episode in like season 4, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like
And
there's a
that's
picture
it.
of him.
Because they have to steer away from it because they know they fucked up. They know.
I liked the J.J. Abrams films, by the way. I actually liked
Mhm.
the Kelvin timeline, and you couldn't mess with if you're not going to do Next Generation, or if you are going to go back to the original crew, it's got to be a different timeline. There's no way of
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
But how
And
cool
Trek
would
fans
it
are
have
used
been?
to that, so it's fine.
But how cool would Discovery have been if it was Mirror Universe?
That would have been dope. I'm down. I'm down for an entire series that's Mirrorverse. I really am.
So the whole Discovery, if you watch Picard is better than original Next Generation. Right? Hear me out.
Picard
I know
season
we all
3,
love the Next Generation,
absolutely.
but season 3 Picard. Oh yeah, not the other two. Season 3 Picard is better than the Next Generation, but the Next Generation was epic, and it was an allegory for real life. It was taking geopolitical issues and
Mhm.
dealing with them in space, but it was taking really heavy issues
Yes.
and making episodes. Discovery is interpersonal relationships between various different characters, like a show you mentioned earlier on, Buffy.
Mhm.
It's Joss Whedon. So it's not really about how is Buffy impacting the world and how is she making the world a better. It's like, yeah, she loves Angel and Angel loves her, but she also has a thing for Spike, and Spike doesn't really know what to do. It's all the interpersonal dramas of these characters. That's what Discovery is. Discovery is. It's the interpersonal relationship of Michael Burnham and who she is, and becoming this free person as a captain.
You know what? Remember what I told you Dave said about the show? He's like, I think I know what's wrong with this show. It feels like it's always about to cry. Like it's just always on the verge of tears. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. And
Dave
you know
is
what else?
spot
You know
on.
what else is accurate? You know what else is true? I'm about to Dwayne the Rock Johnson this peace situation right now. I am 43. I've had 4 kids.
Get a bottle of
I've
Ciroc.
drank a Hawaiian tall boy and an entire bottle of water. I'm about to die. My eyeballs are floating. So everyone go follow Emmet. Go subscribe to the Final Furlong Pod. It's at Final Furlong Pod on the YouTubes. So give them a go. I've been Danny. You've been awesome. And I will see you in the next one. Until then, look under your beds tonight because
Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you!